Family, peace, peace, peace. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. Let's say it again, honey. Your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. So, if you are new to my channel, my name is Zena Bryant. I do these inspirational videos just so we can shift our mindset. One of the things I'm talking about tonight is life is always serving us the best, even with the negativity. Okay, hear me out. I remember a few years ago, right? I was working at this job, and how I got into working for this small business, I was being mentored, right? From this lovely lady, okay? And she had a friend who needed a driver to deliver these food deliveries, okay, to like people that was elderly or people who had some form of like medical, okay. And so at first I was like, I don't really think, I really want to work for anybody else because, I like being on my time and stuff like that. So she said, well, think about it and let me know, right? The lady who I was being mentored by. So later on, the next session, I told her, yeah, I would do it, right? So she contacted her friend, and then her friend had called me, and we set up an appointment so I could, start working and stuff, right? And when I started working, so it was, a part time job. It was Thursdays. I believe it was like 2 days or 3 days out of the week. Okay. And when I was working there, one of the things that the friend said, okay, the my new employer at that time, she said, Dina, promise me you won't quit on me, right? Because people have been quitting on her and stuff like that. So I said, I won't quit on you. And when I would get paid, I would be so grateful and thankful, and I would thank her and stuff like that. So one thing led to another. It was this storm that had approached, but prior to that, it was in the summertime. It was hot, and the van. Okay, so she had two vans that the drivers would take. It would be me and another guy. Okay, and I remember the van that I was using, the air conditioner, it just went out. Like it wasn't working no more. So I let her know, that it wasn't working no more. Um, I don't know what's going on, but the air conditioner isn't working. So this one particular day, it was like 90 something degrees. It's summertime. And I had to roll a window up because it was raining outside, right? And so that was that. And so the next day, that day later on, I told her, I said, the van is not working. She said, well, I'm gonna make an appointment and I'm gonna see, if I can schedule for the van to be serviced or whatever. So she scheduled the appointment, but it was like far out, right? Probably like a few weeks out, right? So it was a storm that had occurred, and trees and stuff, it was, all in the road and stuff like that. So she sent me a message earlier that day, and she said, if you guys are not coming to work, pretty much like that's okay, because it was like a group chat she sent it to. Because there's a storm, whatever it is, like that, whatever. So I sent her a message stating like, I'm not coming because is the van, it don't have no air conditioner. It's going to be hot, especially if it's raining and stuff like that. I had to roll the window up and be in the heat the other day. Whatever. So the next time I was due to go back to work, I know she said, me and you need to talk, right? So I said, all right. And she said she was gonna call me after the shift was over and stuff like that, and I didn't receive a call. So the next day, and it would be times where as though my route, so some days my route would be, 20 deliveries or whatever it is like that. Then some days it will go higher because people had quit. So the day that I was going back, after she said me and her needed to talk, okay, the day that I had went to go pick the van up. No, basically, before that I told her, I said, listen, I don't because she said, you know what, you could take the other van. And I said, but the guy used the other van, and that's the van he's been using, right? And he was, upset. He had a whole attitude, I guess, because the van that was no air conditioner, he used it for one day. And I thought to myself, I was like, this not fair, whatever. So I, expressed it. And one of the things when I went to go pick the van up, right, from her house, and we met, pretty much, face to face and stuff. And she said, Dina, first off, the vans is not assigned to anyone, right? I felt that really kind of to be ironic because prior to that, we would use the same exact van. Yes, nobody name was on it or whatever it is like that, but we would use the same exact van. And so she said, I have a business and the deliveries need to be delivered. And I was like, all right, I understand that. I said, but if it's hot in a van, right, and the air conditioner there's no air conditioner, and then you telling me to take the van that the guy had, I said, to me, I thought that was unfair. So she went on, and after she spoke, whatever, I was all ready to work. And I was like, all right, so what van I'm taking today? And she was like, you're not. And I was like, what you mean? And she was like basically I won't be needing you no more. I was so devastated. Like I was hurt. I was crying. I remember, after leaving, walking away from her, I just started busting out crying because one of the things I was thinking, I was like, oh my goodness, here was people have been quitting on this lady. And she asked me, Dina, promise me you won't quit and stuff like that. And I didn't even quit on her. And I promised her that I'd stay with her and stuff like that. And so I called my mother and I explained to my mother, what was going on. And my mother, she was like, don't worry about it. Things gonna work out. You can't do people just any old type of way talking about the lady. And I told my mother, I said, you know what? I'm going to try to apply for unemployment, just to see. Okay. And I applied for unemployment and I was denied. Okay. And after I was denied, about a month went past. Unemployment sent me a letter stating that I was eligible. I was so ecstatic. Okay. So when I tell you, life is always serving you, whatever it is that you perceive it to be, right? I had got this from Bashar, okay? One of the things he says is life is meaningless. We give life meaning. So everything that comes into your life, it is always working out for the best. It is always working out for the best. Another story I'm going to share with you guys. A few years ago, it's been a minute, I was in this relationship with this guy. And he was abusive, right? And I tell you guys all the time that people always show us how they are. The red flags always show. It's up to us if we want to acknowledge them or if we want to just brush them aside, because We want what we want and when we want it. So this guy, he would put his hands on me. I questioned him, asked him about, who's this person in his phone. Yeah, I would be going through his phone. Okay. Um, and I remember it would be altercations where as though he would, constantly put his hand on me. And when I was staying with him, since he knew that at that time, um, his place was the only place really that I had to, could go to and, stay at, he would use that as an advantage to kick me out, right? And I remember I was so devastated, like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen now and all this other stuff. But let me tell you something, honey. Life is meaningless. We give life meaning. Although I was going through that, I knew something was going to occur in my life, whereas though it was going to benefit me. And after he had kicked me out, right, twice, then I was able to move into transitional housing. Now, after he kicked me out, I lived with, two African guys. That was the first time. Then the second time I had went and stayed with my brother. And from there, okay, from him doing that, from him kicking me out, everything led up to me having my own apartment. So when I tell you, even with things that appear to be negative, in the negativity illusion, there is always a positivity illusion. It is all what we give meaning to. So you may be going through a divorce right now, right? And you may not even understand. You probably like, oh my goodness, this person was, my world, how I'm gonna make it without them and stuff. Honey, you gonna make it. You are going to make it. And perhaps you experiencing that and you going through that and growing through that, it is going to bring you closer to the person that you really supposed to be with. But everything that we tend to go through, there is always something positive from it. And I wanted to share that with you guys because, sometimes we can hear, so many stories. Oh, let me tell you this, had this, didn't. Pay attention to what you want more of, and you will receive more of it. Also, when I would experience anxiety and depression, right, I never understood why at that time I was experiencing those things, right? I told you guys before, oftentimes when we tend to experience depression, it's like, the real you is sick of you playing this role, right? This persona, this illusion, following up with this illusion that everything has to be perfect. And one of the things that I started realizing was, by me experiencing it, the anxiety and the depression, by me experiencing those things, it pushed me to one, to go within, two, to start doing the work on myself and to accept myself, and then three, to make, honey, these amazing videos. So everything, even if it appears to be not working for you, is working for you.